A man who is fully paralyzed has regained touch and some movement. And the most surprising part is that the improvement lasted even after the system helping his nerves was switched off. Welcome to the Automated Daily, Top News Edition, the podcast created by generative AI. It's July 18th, 2026. I'm Trent Teller, and today we're looking at a remarkable medical breakthrough, a sharper global fight over artificial intelligence, and fresh signs that one distant rocky world may be more Earth-like than we thought. This episode is brought to you by Lindy. Lindy is your ultimate AI assistant that proactively manages your inbox, meetings, and calendar so you can focus on what actually matters. Find the link in the episode notes. We begin with that striking medical result. Doctors treated a man left completely paralyzed after a diving accident with a double neural bypass, using implanted brain devices and a computer link to reconnect signals around damaged pathways. He not only recovered a lasting sense of touch, but also some partial movement. What makes this especially important is that the gains did not vanish when the computer was turned off. That suggests the nervous system may be able to hold on to some of what it relearns. It is still early-stage research, but for people living with severe paralysis, this points to a future that may offer more than temporary assistance. Another health story could reshape treatment decisions for prostate cancer. A major NHS study that followed nearly 3,500 men over 10 years found that focal therapy controlled the disease about as effectively as surgery or radiotherapy, while causing fewer of the side effects patients often fear most. Instead of treating the whole prostate, doctors target only the cancerous area with methods like ultrasound or freezing. That means a lower risk of incontinence and sexual dysfunction, and it may ease one of the biggest reasons men hesitate over screening or treatment. If these findings influence policy, focal therapy could move from a niche option to a more common standard of care. In biotech, researchers have used artificial intelligence to invent synthetic gene editing enzymes that do not exist in nature. The work builds on CRISPR, but instead of only tweaking known biological tools, scientists asked AI to design new ones that could still do the job efficiently. The result is a large set of promising molecular editors that may outperform some natural versions. The bigger picture here is simple. AI is no longer just helping scientists analyze data. It is beginning to help design the basic tools of biology itself, which could accelerate work in medicine, agriculture, and lab research. Synthetic biology also hit a major milestone with the Yeast 2.0 project. Researchers completed the final synthetic yeast chromosome needed for what is expected to become the first eukaryote with an entirely synthetic genome. In plain terms, scientists are turning yeast into a programmable living system that could one day help make medicines, fuels, advanced materials, and perhaps even support the design of more resilient crops. The scientific promise is huge, but so are the questions around safety, ownership, and public trust. As this field matures, those ethical debates are moving from the sidelines to the center. Now to artificial intelligence, where technology and geopolitics are becoming harder to separate. At the 2026 World AI Conference in Shanghai, China presented itself as a champion of international AI cooperation and launched a new intergovernmental body aimed at shaping global standards and access. At the same time, Chinese firm Moonshot AI unveiled Kimi K3, a powerful open-weight model that, if performance claims hold up, could show Chinese developers are narrowing the gap with top U.S. systems faster than many expected. Together, these moves underline China's strategy: use openness, lower cost, and broad availability to expand influence, especially where access to top-tier computing remains constrained. Europe, meanwhile, is taking a more regulatory route. The European Union has ordered Google to give rivals greater access to search data and to open more Android features to competing AI tools. Regulators say this is about making the market more competitive and giving consumers more choice, especially as AI assistants become a bigger part of how people use phones and the web. Google argues the decision could create privacy and security risks, but the broader trend is clear. Brussels wants fewer bottlenecks controlled by a handful of giant platforms, and it is willing to push hard to make that happen. And finally, a quick roundup from space and physics. Astronomers say they now have strong evidence that the rocky exoplanet LHS 1140b has an atmosphere, making it one of the most promising known worlds in the habitable zone of its star. There is no sign of life, but it is an important clue in the search for Earth-like planets. Back on Earth, India completed its first private orbital rocket launch, a landmark for the country's commercial space sector, and a sign that its startup ecosystem is maturing quickly. And in particle physics, a new detector prototype called Platon showed a simpler way to track particle paths in 3D, a development that could eventually help both fundamental science and medical imaging. Thanks to our sponsor, 11 Labs. 11 Labs lets you discover the future of AI audio with cutting-edge voice technology. Find the link in the episode notes. That's the top news for July 18th, 2026. From brain-computer medicine to AI-powered politics and new hints from deep space, the pace of change is not slowing down. I'm Trend Teller, and this was the Automated Daily, Top News Edition. Thanks for listening.